Welcome back. You know, a lot of people, even close to the president, say, you're going to be surprised by the Obama you'll see this evening. Will he be more about olive branch or clenched fist? There's the debate going on, but that's kind of a style thing. But from a substance, this is a guy who didn't want to run for another race. He's happy in his rearview mirror, and trust me, he cares like they all do about his legacy. He wants to get stuff done, but he's also sick and tired of some of the obstruction in his eyes he's faced in Washington. Let me bring Andrew back in from D.C. here. And Andrew, what was the word in the corridors of Washington? Do they think we're going to see the tough guy Obama, or that can't we all just get along Obama?
Well, everybody says, first of all, that the president is going to be seeking bipartisanship. Bipartisan is one of these words that keeps coming out at the State of the Union address. Everybody seems to embrace it. And then in the next breath, they'll tell you why they're advocating a position and why they oppose the other side. And maybe bipartisanship isn't something that's going to happen. But I spoke with Congressman Tim Bishop, Democrat out of Suffolk County on Long Island earlier today, trying to figure out if this is going to be a president who is going to lay out policies that Republicans would embrace or perhaps rail against a little bit. Here's a little of what he said.
Well, I hope he reaches out because look, it's always better when you can come to something with some degree of commonality. But I will say the president, ran on the issues that he's been talking about. He ran on the issue of stabilizing the middle class. He ran on the issue of not being able to cut our way to prosperity. He ran on the issue of improving access to early childhood education and to higher education, and on the need to invest in our infrastructure. The American people endorsed that by their votes of him. And the American people also, in terms of polling, are taking positions that say they're in favor of what he's proposing. I mean, 70% of America believes that we should have some form of reasonable gun safety legislation. That's pretty powerful. 60% of America believes that we need to have a path to earned legalization for the 11 million undocumented immigrants who are here now. So not only is the president articulating the agenda that he ran on, he's articulating an agenda that is, in a very forceful way, at least in terms of polling, supported by the American people.
But, of course, many of those issues that Congressman Bishop says the president was reelected on are vehemently opposed by Republicans, particularly in the House, but also in the Senate, of course. So the question remains, will the Congress seem to be more united after tonight's State of the Union address, or will it be more of what we've seen over the last 4 and tonight make it 5 years, Rich? Will it be just a little bit more of a partisan divide after we hear from the president tonight? Let's send it back to you.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. You guys all see Lincoln? Shame on you two. Shame on you two. Great movie. And one of the scenes you like out of it is, for those who make notes, see Lincoln. Well, one of the things you get out of it is it's not, he's as principled a guy as you're going to find, but he cut deals. And he had openings in government. He said, what does this guy want? All right, let's give him what he wants. He's not giving him a manila envelope under the table, but they're figuring out things to make things work because he needed a certain number of votes. Fast forward to today, and it being Lincoln's birthday, I think it's apropos. Michael, from your perspective here, are there votes to be had if it's more retail politics, or does the Republican Party, as disjointed as they are, do they still kind of coalesce around whatever leadership du jour they have for the day? Does it make sense for this White House to say, all right, I need 30 votes. I'm going to find 30 guys that I can either pick off, threaten, or help them out with some project, go that way, or do they have to go through the Boehner, Cantor, Ryan, Triumvirate, or whatever it is?
Well, what's interesting, the part that Brad raised about the Republican Party really not having that kind of discipline is really of moment. The fact that you do have the Tea Party giving a separate response tonight. But, my view of negotiating was always one of two ways. One was the American president type of way, where you appeal to the public, you got people in, and you kind of picked off different people, and you pull the chart off the wall, that great scene. Or what you do is you do brinksmanship. You get to the end, and everybody's sitting there, we can't go anywhere, we can't go anywhere, and then you all come in, and like Vietnam, and we declare victory, and all walk away. And the problem with this gang in Washington right now is they go to the brink, and then they go over. That's the problem here, and it's like nobody
every time.
Yeah, every single
time.
So you don't have people sitting there going, as a negotiating style, let's fight in public and then cut the deals in the back room. Which, frankly, though the government Google groups don't like that, the American public say, okay, show us your differences, fight, but then come to a conclusion.
Done. Now, to that end, I'm hearing it, and you tell me how real or not it is. every campaign manager and consultant, remember Glengarry Ross, those gold, the best sales leads they had? Well, the database that Obama had, that he ran on, the first one and the second one, that had the micro detail, everybody's dying for this list here, but they say they're really going to mobilize these people that gave money, that volunteered, reaching out to people in different industries. I think it's interesting that the Apple CEO is sitting in the box of Michelle Obama tonight. Is that lip service, or you think it's real, that they say, forget this, we're not getting anywhere through trying to get the congressional guys to come around the table. We're going to go directly to the public and scare them either at the ballot box or through their inboxes in their office?
Absolutely. It's the most effective weapon that they've had.
And you think they'll do it this time?
They could win the election the way they did, with a ground game the way they did, with the grassroots efforts the way they did, and that's how they're going to get to the American public issue by issue. And the president, that's his game. And I think Mike mentioned it, is like, it's one of the ways of doing it is go out there, appeal to the public, and then go back and then snag all the people that they need for these votes, and then that's going to create enough leverage for people to start to.
Can I ask you though, because there was somebody I heard today, somebody very close to the president off the record is saying, I love the guy, we'll all go through a wall for him, but he's got to stop being an attorney in that he's trying to prove why the other side is wrong. He's got to cut deals. He doesn't have a lot of time here. Is there a part that he says, the base is going to be with me no matter what? Maybe they won't like everything. We'll get into guns in a second. Maybe he gets half of what he wants. Or maybe, you know what, he does compromise on Medicare and Social Security and entitlement stuff.
I mean, the truth of the matter is these aren't mutually exclusive things. The president has moral high ground on a lot of these issues, so he can take his case to the public, and in the end, this is making sausages. In the end,
does the public scare 30, 40 Republicans or no?
It gets you some of the way there, but it's not likely to get you all the way there. You're going to do some of this and some of that. There's not an all this strategy and all that strategy. These aren't mutually exclusive.
But you can't go in negotiating. You have to start somewhere. And what the president, I think, did improperly in his first term was he was already walking in negotiating. He found out that he walked in that they will just skin you alive.
What this is going to do is soften the turf. Right? It's going to make it easier for people to come
Absolutely.
over.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a compromise.
Dom, how long does he have here? I mean, I keep hearing about the different numbers for lame ducks. How long does he have? And they tell him he has before, not that it becomes irrelevant because they don't got to listen to him anymore.
Well, certainly once it reaches the midterm elections, it's probably too late for the president at that point. But what I find amazing is that everyone here is using the word compromise. How do you compromise with somebody that doesn't want to come to the table? I mean, Boehner said today that he's not going to cut a deal anymore with the president alone.
He's going to talk immigration, right? And everybody knows, you know what? Let the Republicans get some face time here and let them get their name on the bill. Does he say today, hey, I want to thank X lawmaker out there for working hand in hand? It might be the kiss of death if he says it, but to work with us here? Or does he try and say, let's get behind the Obama immigration plan?
Well, I don't think he's going to call it the Obama immigration plan. He may give one or two Republicans some credit, but I'm not exactly sure.
All right, I got to hit a break here. When we come back, we're going to switch gears. A reminder, keep this dialogue going online, social media, and again, we'll take your phone calls later on tonight here. And again, our question, what do you want to hear from the president? All right. One of the issues, and we've already talked about, that we will hear this evening, we don't know in what depth, but will be one of the big issues that the president knows he has limited time on, and that is some form of gun control here. When we come back, we'll talk about one of those key issues of gun violence in this country, how he addresses it. I'll tell you who's in the audience. That might be a sign of what we can expect to see. Stay with us.